you very much. I haven't even said anything yet. It's great. It's my pleasure to call to order the 4th Global Services Summit. I'd like to welcome our distinguished speakers and guests. The Global Services Summit has raised the profile of services trade and investment over the past 4 years to new heights that we would scarcely have imagined. I have enjoyed being part of these summits as president of MetLife International and as chairman of CSI's board in the past, and I look forward to continuing to participate as a CSI board member and in my new gig as senior advisor at Promontory Financial Group. Of course, the Global Services Summits would never have existed without the vision and leadership of CSI's outgoing president, Bob Vastine. Bob, it truly has been a pleasure and an honor to work with you. All of us in global services trade owe you an enormous debt of gratitude, and we want to say thank you so much for your leadership. You're welcome. I think 16 years merits at least 2 rounds of applause. Maybe more. I also want to say how much I'm looking forward to working with CSI's new president, Ambassador Peter Allgeier. Peter, thank you for joining CSI at this critical time. I know that you're going to do great work and build upon the leadership that Bob has provided us in the past, and that you're going to be a great success. At this point, I'd like to invite Sam Piazza, Vice Chairman of Citigroup and my successor as Chairman of the Board, to come to the podium. Sam's international experience is extensive. Prior to joining Citi, he served as the global CEO of PricewaterhouseCoopers. Over his 36-year career at PwC, he was deeply involved in a number of issues in services around the world. He serves as a trustee and member of the Executive Committee of the International Financial Reporting Standards Foundation. He's the past chairman of the Geneva-based World Business Council on Sustainable Development and serves on the USA Foundation Board of the World Economic Forum, among many other important activities. Please join me in welcoming CSI's new chair, Sam Piazza.
Thank you, Bill, and I start by thanking Bill for his great service as chairman of CSI for the last role in trade and investment. Bill has had a long and wonderful career at MetLife, more than 3 decades, and I'm honored to follow in your footsteps. Our great fortune is that Bill's going to remain involved in his new role at the Promontory Group. He'll remain as a member of our board and stay very active in all the things that we worked so hard on. So I join Bill in welcoming all of you this morning, all of our speakers, those from the private sector, those from the public sector, to the 2012 Global Services Summit. We've got a great program lined up. It's a remarkable collection of ambassadors from around the world to talk to us, members of the private sector, to be engaged as we discuss our way forward, what comes next. And our plenary sessions this morning, outstanding, 2 breakout sessions this afternoon, and we finish with one of my favorite speakers, Ian Brimmer, this afternoon, giving us a sense of his view of the leadership in a very difficult geopolitical world. It really is a great personal honor for me to take this role. As Bill said, I have almost 40 years engaged in services industries. leading one of the great professional services firms, but working with all the large global service companies around the world and many governments. So it is a great pleasure for me to be here, but it was also difficult because when I was asked to do this role, I understood that my first official task was to accept the retirement of Bob Vastine as our president. And I second Bill's observations around Bob's impact. This organization, CSI, is relatively young, 1982, and it was formed by some great companies in this country, American Express, my own company, Citigroup, AIG, and others. And we had impact immediately. But in 1996, we were really very fortunate to attract Bob Vastine to be our leader. Bob came to the CSI after a long and successful career both on the Hill and in the executive branch, but also in the private sector, where he really began to understand and worked hard on both sides of the issues of trade. So he understood trade from the ground up and understood the services sector from the ground up. And we've benefited from that for the last 16 years. Bob's handing off a great organization to those of us that will follow. And having Peter Allgeier join us as our new president is a great addition for us. But we have the advantage of the fact that Bob is leaving us after doing a superb job, working tirelessly, building these summits, which this is our fourth, having the vision to engage with trade ministers on specifically the issues of services and the broad impacts. He's connected us around the world through the coalition of our coalition of partners, our 11 partners from countries all around the world. He's brought our members to focus on the issues where we can have the greatest impact. He's leaving CSI with an outstanding agenda, sound financial position, energy and creativity. And frankly, we couldn't be in a better spot, and that's all due to the hard work of Bob and his team. Maybe most importantly, he's brought respect to this discussion. Services has often been at the back end of the dialogue, but I think now, both on the public sector and among the CEOs of the world, they understand that economies don't work if services don't work. If you don't have a services industry that's open and vibrant and growing, and a lot of that has to do with Bob's hard work at CSI. So Peter, myself, the CSI board, all the people in the room that share your great commitment to the cause, we thank you. You've left us a strong foundation, and I do think that it is our benefit and our obligation to carry that on in the future. So Bob, please join me. We have a small, please. A small memento that we'd like to give to Bob. It's difficult to ever recognize the great service he's done, but with grateful appreciation for your leadership. J. Robert Vastine, President, Coalition of Service Industries, 1996-2012.
Very much. Bill and Sam, you've been extremely kind. I'm deeply grateful for your words, for your thoughts, for your support, for such a long time, and for the opportunity. Sam noted that CSI was founded 30 years ago, in 1982, by a group of senior executives who decided that the rule of law needed to apply to services as it did and does to goods. And that determination resulted in the General Agreement on Trade and Services in 1995. Since then, over the years since then, CSI's effort has been to realize the promise of the GATS and to support other negotiations for liberalization. We have the rules, but we have been waiting for 16 years for the commitments and for the growth and prosperity that would result. That is the mission I know Sam Piazza and Peter Allgeier and all of us will tirelessly pursue. This is a powerful moment for me because yesterday was my last job on the day I love, on the job I love. It is also a welcome moment of relief. No more summers. No more calls for late dues, and a little time to do some other things. So it's a moment of opportunity as new doors open. I am very pleased to announce that I have been appointed a Senior Industry Fellow at the Center for Business and Public Policy at the McDonough School of Business at Georgetown University. I'll be working there to advance our shared purposes, and I'm open to working with you, on all of you, on our issues as we move forward. My contact information is in each of your folders. It is also a time for thanks today. Thanks to the companies and the others who have sponsored and supported our work. To friends like you from around the world, so many of you from other countries, from other delegations, from your ministries of trade, from Geneva, from the Global Services Coalition. This is a wonderful audience. We have never had a better quality, more substantive group of folks here for any services summit. So thank you so very much for that. And I want to especially thank the exceptionally talented, expert, hardworking negotiators from all countries who work so hard to secure the benefits of trade liberalization. It's an amazing group. So finally, two people are particularly deserving today of thanks. The first is Barbara Warner, and the second is Jimmy Lim. Barbara has truly made this summit possible with her tireless work. I recommend her to anybody, anytime, for a job of this complexity. And Jimmy Lim, our can-do man, who has made these summits work now for 4 years, please join me in thanking Barbara and Jim. Finally, a word of thanks to Steve Simchak, CSI Program Director, and Andrew Jensen, CSI Program Associate, for all they do to keep CSI running and make it effective. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you around.
Thank you, Bob. You can be guaranteed you'll see us a lot. So here, let me make We're not going to let you get too far away. I am very pleased and thrilled to introduce to you our newly elected president, Ambassador Peter Allgeier. I don't think Peter needs a lot of introduction to this group. CSI was very fortunate to have Bob for 16 years, and the search committee did an outstanding job in selecting Peter to continue that progress. Since 2009, Peter has served as the president of C&M International, which is the trade consulting affiliate of Crowell & Mooring. But his life's work is really in the government, working on various issues, all very close to our hearts. For nearly 3 decades serving in the USTR, during those years serving as the U.S. ambassador to the WTO and the deputy U.S. trade representative. Peter was a negotiator on just about every major U.S. trade initiative since the Carter administration. He's the recipient of the Presidential Distinguished Rank Award. That's the highest award, performance award, granted to career federal officials. He's also the recipient of the Distinguished Service Award from the Washington International Trade Association and the Woodrow Wilson Distinguished Alumnus Award from Johns Hopkins. We're thrilled to have Peter leading us at this time. There's so much that can be done in the next few years, and no one better to lead this group then Peter Allgeier. Peter.
Thank you very much, Sam. Actually, the first job that I had at USTR in 1980 was working for Geza Fekete. And I think many of you know that Geza was really one of the trailblazers in getting international trade services into the WTO. But in any mural depicting the pioneers of international trade and services, Bob Vastine needs to be pictured prominently. Over the more than 16 years that he was the president of CSI, he really was a leader in bringing international trade and services into the center of trade policy and trade negotiations. And as Bill Toppeta said, we all owe you a great debt of gratitude for that work, Bob. I'm honored to follow in his footsteps at CSI. And as daunting as that is, I already have felt very strong support from the membership of CSI. I very much appreciate that, and I hope that I will live up to your expectations. We also are extremely fortunate to have Sam Piazza as our chairman of the board. His decades of experience in the accounting industry have given him a keen insight. Perhaps some of the firms would have wished a little less keen insight into the operations of a whole range of services companies, as well as obtaining a very good understanding of the international trade arena and international business arena. So I'm looking forward very much to be working with Sam, and already actually have learned an awful lot from him. On the government side, we have Ambassador Kirk. And although I have been unable to convince him that the North Carolina Tar Heels are the best basketball team in the country, he's our all-star center on the team of services. So seriously, Ambassador Kirk, thank you very much for your unflagging support of the work that CSI does. But CSI also has very good bench strength. And as Bob said, we owe a lot to the services team, Barbara Warner, Steve Simchak, Jim Lin, and Andrew Jensen. So thank you very much for the work that you've done on the summit, but also on the work that you do day by day for CSI. I'm also pleased to announce the newest member of our team. That is Courtney Sakai, who will be joining CSI as our new vice president. Courtney has outstanding experience and success, both in the negotiating arenas of the WTO and the TPP, but also as an award-winning public relations expert. And so I hope that you will introduce yourself to Courtney today or tomorrow while you're here. So finally, thank you once again for the opportunity to work with all of you on services, and I look forward to building on the success that CSI has achieved in recent years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.